Welcome to Kununurra, here in the East Kimberley region of Western Australia. About 30 kilometres away is the border between here and Northern Territory, which we will be flying in that direction on board Air North on an Embraer E190 bound for Darwin. Kununurra is unlike any other town I've ever visited before. The weather here, despite looking lovely, was a scorching 40 degrees centigrade and a humidity of nearly 80%. There honestly wasn't much I could do without breaking out into a sweat. The town itself sits approximately 30 kilometres from the border between WA and the NT, and it is host to 4,500 residents, who, all of which that I met in the 3 hours I was here, to be some of the most friendly I've ever met. Even so much so that I was given a lift to and from the airport. The whole point of this town is its role in the Ord River Irrigation Scheme, a large-scale agricultural project initiated in the 1960s. However, nowadays the town serves as a gateway to several natural attractions in the Kimberley region, such as the Miramar National Park. The terminal building here is quite small, however there are a lot of regularly scheduled flights throughout the day to Perth, Broome and Darwin. Interestingly enough, the longest interstate flight operates here, Virgin's daily 737 flight to Perth, clocking a total flight time of 3 hours and 10 minutes. Check-in for Air North, like all the other Australian airlines, is located on the left-hand side of the building. It's interesting, for once, not to see a Qantas check-in desk. As quickly as check-in proceeded, so did the arrival of my inbound aircraft. Today's aircraft is an Embraer E190-100AR, registered as Victor Hotel Uniform Yankee Juliet. She was built in 2006, being delivered brand new to Copper Airlines of Panama as Hotel Papa 1560 Charlie Mike Papa, before being moved to Alliance Airlines in November 2021. Since then, she has been leased to QantasLink and now to Air North under her current registration, making this aircraft 18 years old. After our aircraft pulled in on stand, I turned around and made my way to the tiny security checkpoint. After having a very long and pleasant conversation with the security staff, who were very interested in what I do, I made my way to the gate, as I was one of the very last to board. Boarding today commenced at Gate 2. Air North or Alliance Airlines E190s are in a two-class configuration with 10 business class seats in a 1-2 layout, and 84 economy class seats in a 2-2 layout. Today I shall be seated in 5 Alpha. The economy class seat has 31 inches of pitch and 18.3 inches of width. As this is a bulkhead seat, there is a standard tray table that folds out from the armrest in half and extends. In the seat pocket you'll find a safety card, African swine fever alert card and air sickness bag. Above are individual reading lights, air vents and a flight attendant call button. Soon the doors closed, the engine started and the safety briefing commenced, 18 minutes behind schedule.
Welcome aboard your Air North flight. This is a significant year for us as we celebrate 45 years of flying to some of the most majestic, cultural, and 2 at the rear of the cabin. Please note your nearest emergency exit and an alternate exit. In the event of an emergency evacuation, floor path lighting will guide you to your nearest exit. In the unlikely event that we land on your head, oxygen will flow through the bag, even though the bag may not inflate. Fit your own mask first before assisting others. Your crew will advise you when oxygen is no longer required. Now,
We taxied to runway 12 via Delta, Charlie, Alpha and runway 30. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. After takeoff, we turned left directly over Kununurra before turning slightly right, setting a northeasterly course towards Darwin. Flight time today is 47 minutes, covering a distance of 319 miles or 513 kilometers, cruising at 31,000 feet. Once underway, we flew north, leaving the coastline behind very briefly over the WA-NT border, which the landscape below looked like the Martian terrain. As we left the coastline behind, the crew began the in-flight service, which was very brief. I was given a bag of passion fruit butterburst biscuits as well as tea, coffee and water. I decided on water as it was a bit late for tea and coffee. The biscuits were fairly small, perfect to dip in my non-existent coffee, and tasted more of vanilla than passion fruit, which I was quite surprised by. Later, we passed over Port Keats Aerodrome, which sits right next to the small town of UYJ, which is one of Australia's largest and most remote indigenous populations. Interestingly, there is only a single road that can access this town from Darwin, and it's sealed off by the Dili River for 7 months of the year, making an airstrip necessary for the people of this town to remain connected. On board Air North's E190s are 3 bathrooms, 1 for business and 2 for economy. Inside is everything you'd typically expect to find for economy class, including, interestingly, Qantas branded hand soap. Soon we commenced our descent into Darwin. You might be wondering why I'm flying on board an Alliance Airlines aircraft rather than an Air North aircraft. Well, Air North and Alliance have agreed on a dry lease, which is an arrangement where Airline 1, in this case Alliance, provides the aircraft to Airline 2, or Air North, without providing crews, insurance, maintenance or operational support. This is why basically everything on board is Air North based and not Alliance based. It's quite an interesting setup. With the wet season currently being in full force here in Darwin, the weather surrounding the city wasn't the most pleasant, but was absolutely stunning with puffy grey clouds engulfing my view. This was soon traded for the greens of the countryside and greys of the metallic city coming into view from the northwest. Some interesting history about Darwin. In World War II, specifically February 1942, Darwin was bombed by Japanese forces in an attempt to conquer Australia. Their aircraft launched 2 separate raids on the city of Darwin, targeting its harbour and military installations. This remains to be the one and only bombing on any Australian city, excluding Broome in 1943. Now please enjoy this unedited landing. After landing, we taxied back to the terminal building via Bravo 2.
Thank you. You are welcome to Darwin.
We pulled into Gate 2 17 minutes behind schedule. Stepping off the aircraft and inside the terminal building at a gate that I was fairly familiar with, I left behind the lovely crew and turned my attention to reclaiming my bag and getting to my hotel for the night. Air North is not the typical airline that most people living outside of the Northern Territory usually see, nor do they usually fly. Air North is generally speaking a Northern Territory only based airline, but you do get routes to Perth, Cairns, Townsville, Broome and Dili. In the past, Air North has operated to a wide variety of cities, such as Port Hedland, Toowoomba, Melbourne and a place you probably didn't know, the Gold Coast. They also used to operate a code share with Qantas pre-2015. However, this all changed when Bristow Helicopters Australia acquired 85% of the company, with the company purchasing the remaining shares later on, thus acquiring the full airline. Air North is one of the most expensive airlines in Australia to fly with, other than Qantas, with this flight costing me just over $300. To me, however, it wasn't about the food or the experience on board, but rather the views that made it all worth it. I wish Air North could expand their route network again. However, with the 4 major airlines covering the majority of routes, it makes slots at other airports much more difficult. This is such the case for Bonza. I hope one day to fly again in the future with Air North, maybe next time to Dili in Timor Leste. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe. Make sure to check out the other videos I have on my YouTube channel. And also now, I have a Discord server. Feel free to join, link at the top of the description. And don't forget to ring that notification bell if you enjoy my content. And if you want to see more, I post my videos every Friday at 8 PM Sydney time. And I hope to see you again in the next one. See you later!